What is going on, Guardians, and welcome back to another Destiny 2 related video. In this video, I really just wanted to field some of the questions that I get asked most frequently while I'm streaming. So I wanted to have a place where maybe we could just make a command and link you to this video, because when I'm streaming all the time now, the most common question I get is, TV, what do you think of Destiny 2? Where do you stand with Destiny 2? What do you think about the future of Destiny 2? What do you think they're going to do with Destiny 2? Is Destiny 2 dead? Right? So these are the questions that I get asked most frequently, even when I'm streaming different games. So I wanted to address those questions here in a video so you know exactly where I'm at, where I stand, what I think. So let's just dive right into it. I'm just kind of going off the top of my head because I've talked about this so much, so there's no script or anything. I'm pretty sure I can do this and just wing it. So first and foremost, the number one thing for me when it comes to Destiny 2, one of the reasons why the game doesn't grab me as much as Destiny 1 did, is the sandbox. So I feel as though the sandbox is, unfortunately, just it's a little one note for me. It's not as dynamic. You know, my favorite thing to do in Destiny 1, and you guys know this from the videos that I've done, right, in Destiny 1, one of my favorite things to do in D1 was let me try and concoct some new, fun, strange loadout that I'm going to use today or this week, right? So I'm going to couple this exotic piece of armor with this weapon and these skill perks in my skill tree and kind of mix and match these perks so that they all, excuse me, Christmas, right? Lots of family, most of them were sick. Anyways, how can I mix and match these things so that they synergize and create some new niche way to play the game, right? That was my favorite thing to do in D1. And I just don't feel like there's anything in Destiny 2, gear, armor, perks in your skill trees, there's nothing that synergizes well enough to generate a brand new, unique playstyle. Even some of the more unique playstyles that you can concoct still feel a little one note. You're still doing a lot of the same things in Destiny 2 on the PvP side of things. So the bottom line for me is that Destiny 2 just doesn't have that it factor that makes me want to no-life it. With Destiny 1, I had a problem where it was hard for me to play other games. Like, I wanted to. New games would come out, and I'd play them for a day or two, and I was like, I kind of want to play some Destiny. You know what I mean? So, for me, the end game in D1 was largely just mixing and matching items, new, fun loadouts to play with, and clip hunting, right? Getting these fun, dynamic clips. And even walking away from a single gaming session and feeling like, man, there's a lot of fun gameplay in there that I've got after a few hours of playing. I've got footage for 2, maybe 3 videos because of it. And I have the opposite situation with Destiny 2. I finish a full 4 to 5 hour streaming session of Trials, and I've recorded all of that gameplay. And I'm going through it, and I'm like, is there anything in here that's fun or impressive enough to upload? And I pull out 2 to 3 minutes worth of stuff, and I'm like, what do I do with this? You know what I mean? So for me, it just doesn't grab me the same way that D1 did. So let me just tell you, I believe in Destiny. I believe in Destiny 2. I believe that Destiny 2 has good bones, and it can be a phenomenal game. Right now, for me, it's not a phenomenal game. It's a good game. And I think some of the things about D2 were expertly done. I'm thinking world design, right? The art teams, visually speaking, this is one of the greatest games that I've ever played visually. The environments, the way that the armor looks, the way that just the visuals work with your space magic, right? And all that stuff. I think it looks stunning. It's beautiful. Absolutely love that part of the game. The problem for me is just the way that it plays. So, number one problem for me, sandbox. So where do I stand? It's a little too one note for me. I can play it and I can enjoy it. And that one note, it can be a phenomenal note. It could be the most beautiful note in the world. But if the song only has one note, even if it's that most beautiful note you've ever heard, after a while that note gets monotonous. And so that's where I'm at with D2. It's good. It's one note, and that one note is good, but it's not any note long enough is monotonous. Does that make sense? Is that kind of you kind of feel what I'm putting down here? You smelling what I'm stepping in? So The sandbox, I feel like needs some spice, right? In D1, we took a lot of risks. I feel like the devs took a lot of risks with some of the weapons and exotics that they put out there, things that just really shook up the sandbox. I mean, like the Twilight Garrison, the Empyrean Bellicose actually mixed things up for me quite dramatically, and you know that. Certain perks on guns, they took a lot of risks, and it led to. It wasn't the most balanced PvP experience of all time by a long shot, but was it fun? You're dang right it was. We had a lot of fun in Destiny 1, didn't we? And I feel like everything's just so, I don't know, watered down. So, anyways, that's where I'm at with the sandbox. I wish it was a little bit more dynamic. I see a bit of a disconnect, too. Like, some of the teams, maybe they weren't communicating the way that maybe they should have. Like, whoever designed the attunement of Sky on the Dawnblade is a genius. You look at those... I'm sorry. Like I said, family, sick. Anyways, you look at the skill perks in that skill tree for the Dawnblade and how they synergize, and you're like, this sounds awesome, right? Flying around in the sky, doing all these aerial maneuvers, so cool. And then you get some exotics to couple with it, like the wings that make you sort of like the Bellicose, right? You get all this in here, and you're thinking, this sounds amazing. But then the sandbox team says, that's cool, but if you play like that, you're gonna die a lot. Like, we want you to stay grounded. We don't like mobility. We're gonna try and slow things down a little bit. You know what I mean? So I don't like the compression of the skill gap. I don't like trying to ground players. And the things that skilled players leverage to outmaneuver and outplay other opponents, watering those things down so that less skilled opponents can maybe more easily take you on. I don't like that. This may sound vain, it's not intended to, but I've been playing games for a long time. I've been playing shooters for a long time, mobile shooters for a long time. And I feel like I've been able to refine my skill set and sort of teach myself maneuvers and things to help me get a leg up on my opposition. And I feel like since I've invested the time and the energy and the effort to get better and to learn these skills, I should be able to use them, right? But I feel like I'm not allowed to. Does that make sense? And so that frustrates me as a player. That's a frustrating experience as a gamer. So I don't like the compression of the skill gap. I always use this analogy. If you have LeBron James and then some kid in an intramural league, right, in his college, and you put them on the same court together, you're going to have, like, a slaughter, right? It's not going to be pretty. But you know what they don't do? They don't say, hey, maybe let's just change the rules here. Okay, so dunking is no longer allowed. You're not allowed to block shots anymore, right? And you know what I mean? So you change the rules so that the less skilled guy can hang with LeBron. So you try and water down LeBron's skills that he's honed. They don't do that, do they? What do? They put them in separate leagues. They say, okay, we're not going to water down the game. We're going to still let LeBron be LeBron and be super impressive and fun to watch as he does his thing. And you're just going to be in an intramural league. You know what I mean? So having proper matchmaking systems to help minimize the number of times a super skilled player is paired with a super noob player. You know what I mean? So it's okay to have a wide range of skill sets in a lobby, but you have to weight it correctly, if that makes sense. So I think there's ways of being friendly to the casual gamer without watering down the game, because even the casual player is going to hit a skill ceiling and not enjoy it anymore. So that's where I'm at with that. Eververse, I feel like I don't even need to talk about Eververse because everything's been talked about, but I'm just going to say that I'm in agreement as a player, especially a PvP player, and I go into the Trials of the Nine for the first time, and I'm like, oh, this is so exciting, right? And there's no gear that's exclusive to being flawless, really. There's no adept versions, right, like there was in D1. There's nothing that really just stands out. On top of that, there was no ship, no ghost, no sparrow for Trials. But you know what had a lot of ships and ghosts and sparrows? Eververse. That's correct. And across the board, just way too much gear weighted. Some of the coolest stuff is in Eververse. It's all wrapped up behind a paywall. So I'm just echoing what everyone else is saying. That system is bad. It doesn't work. It infuriates gamers. It makes them, honestly, it makes them feel slighted. It makes them resent you. And I feel that too. I feel slighted in some ways because of Eververse. So I'm right there with you guys when it comes to Eververse. So really that's where I stand with D2. That's the reason why I'm not playing a ton of it. I'm not no-lifing it. I stream it a few days a week. I get, you know, several hours of it in, and that's cool, and I enjoy that, but at the end of the day, I'm like, well, I got that in, tomorrow we're going to do something else. And that's a new sensation for me. I didn't feel that with Destiny 1. So that's where I stand. Feel free to offer your thoughts, your opinions, your concerns, and whatnot. But I think we're going to see the developers going to take this seriously. Bungie's going to refine the game into a better experience. I believe that. Let me slip this in before I forget. Not a huge fan of the new weapon system. I liked the system we had in D1 with primary, special, heavy. I liked that system. I kind of miss it. So I think this system was a bit of a miss for me. I like it in some capacities, but if I had to pick one or the other, I'm not saying it's terrible. I'm saying if I had to pick one or the other, I'd pick D1 every time. So anyways, that's where I'm at. Let me know what you think. Feel free to hit the comment section and give me some feedback, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking with me. We do still stream. We're still been partnered for 2+ years on Twitch. Stream all the time, every day. We're streaming. Please feel free to stop by. We have a wonderful community. Honestly, I look at and this is nothing against YouTube viewers, but some of the most positive YouTube viewers that I have, the ones that are here all the time, they don't show up in the comment section much because that's just usually if you're satisfied, you don't. If I liked my food at McDonald's, I don't ask for a manager and say, that food was amazing, right? But if I hated my experience, I ask for a manager and I rage. YouTube's comment section is much like that. If you liked your experience, you're probably not going to say anything. If you hated it, you're going to speak up, right? And you're going to be toxic, mean, cutting, whatever. So you see that. But on the Twitch side of things, usually it's just people who are hanging out who just want to be in a group of gamers, like-minded people, and we have a wonderful community on Twitch. Feel free to stop by the stream sometime and interact with the viewers there because they're wonderful people. So feel free to do that. www.twitch. There are not 5 W's. www.twitch.tv/TheTrueVanguard. Come say hi. Love you guys. Thank you so much. I'll catch you later. Bye.